Coming up, I'll share 3 ways to get over the imposter syndrome, and I'm going to teach the law of the zip code and how it can help you get started. We'll take your calls and your chats as well, and it all starts now. I am coming to you live from Ramsey Solutions Studios in Nashville, and you are joining a conversation about who you are, what you were created to do, where you want to do it, and how you can get there. It is about your purpose. And we are aiming you towards meaningful work. The dream job happens as a result of the pursuit of meaningful work. But we want you to understand that we believe you were created to work. Another word to plug into that sentence is you were created to contribute. So when you begin to look at that sentence and that realization, you realize, oh, I don't work to live. Work is not just some drudge through a boring, miserable job each week. And ultimately, work is the way that you achieve your why. You work to produce results that matter deeply to you because they contribute to the betterment of somebody else. This is the whole idea. And so if you long to do that kind of work, whether you have no idea what it is, or you know what it is, but you don't know how to get there, or you're on your way and you just want to get promoted, this show is for you. 844-747-2577. I have to apologize. My allergies are acting up, and there's nothing I can do about it other than take the meds. And so my voice and my nasal passages are just having lots of fun today. Hopefully the voice holds up, Joe. But I promise you, I feel fine. I'm thrilled to be here. I'm pretty darn excited. By the way, this is a great example of when you love what you do, you'll show up and do it, even when you don't feel great. Now, you need to take care of yourself. I'm all for self-care. But yeah, either I have a sinus infection or my allergies are just killing me. And I'll tell you right here, right now, this area right here, right now, it didn't feel so great. But when I walked in here to do the show, my longtime producer, Joe Hankin, who knows me very, very well, I could think of maybe 2 people on the planet that know me better than he does from a professional standpoint. And he looked at me and went, oh, nice little spring in your step. Because I told him yesterday that I had this junk that was starting to come on. I usually get it every year. And so let's just pray that I don't sneeze. Because when my allergies are acting up, I'll get the unintentional sneeze. That's kind of how, you know what I mean? I'd just be here listening to a caller. And at any time, I could just be attacked, with a sneeze fest. So that's never happened, Joe. So far in all of our years together, I've never had to sneeze on air.
Hopefully it won't happen today.
Yeah, I know. I better stop talking about it. Anyway, hey, how about we get to some great content? Good article here Joe got me from Reuters. A guy named Chris Taylor wrote the article. I want to give him credit. It's really good. The title is Feeling Like a Fraud at Work, 3 Ways to Combat Imposter Syndrome. And this is good. So good. I'm just going to summarize briefly. This imposter syndrome is a fancy way of saying doubt. We all are going to struggle with doubt. Doubt never really disappears as a way to overcome it. I teach on this. But when I see other things that I think are really good, and maybe they say it a little bit different than me, I like to share it. So here we go. Great article here. The first way to overcome that imposter syndrome is to be proud of your wins. The negative voices in your head can get really, really loud. We know that. And I think at times we focus on the obstacles, the negative things that are happening or have happened, and we lose complete sight of the wins, whether it was a recent win, a win that we're experiencing right now. We just know this from neuroscience and all the studies, that the negative has a greater impact and pulls greater focus from us than the positive. So this, again, is a discipline issue. You're going, Ken, what's the hack? There's no hack. You have to know that this is what your brain does. And so you have to discipline yourself to go, I'm not going to let the feelings and the thoughts around the negative outweigh the positive. I'm not going to focus on them. I'm not going to let them have all the territory in my head and heart. Number 2, watch out for milestone triggers. I thought this was really interesting. I've never seen anybody say it this way. But the writer says the irony of imposter syndrome is that it tends to show up just when you think it wouldn't after a big promotion. Now, I do write about this in my new book, which is to be named shortly. Just turned in the manuscript. But I talk about the mirages when you get that dream job and you begin to, or you're on the precipice and you're staring at it and you're going, okay. And you got to be really careful that once you step into that dream job and you really accomplish something super significant, you've been climbing towards this. This is a momentous occasion that you don't start to go, uh-oh, I'm finally here. I've been working so hard for this. Gee whiz, I hope I can do it. And so this is really true. It's the milestone trigger. You get there and you go, oh gosh, I've worked so hard for this. I want this to go so well. What if it doesn't go so well? And we begin to spiral into doubt or the imposter syndrome. And then third, develop a supportive community. This is so, so true. When you are experiencing doubt and fear and pride for that matter, and you feel like it's holding you up, you have got to have somebody in your life who you trust big time. And you go to them, you go, look, this is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm feeling. And let them objectively help you see where you're wrong and what you need to be focusing on. I believe one of the quickest way to overcome fear and doubt is to get on the phone with somebody or get in person with somebody who just knows you so well, knows the journey you're on, believes in you, and can give you that quick, instant injection of objectivity and perspective. It's a game changer. So good stuff there. You need to apply that. Welcome to the dance. Anybody that's on purpose is going to face these moments of am I an imposter? And just know that's par for the course. It's okay. And you can't overcome it. 844-747-2577. 844-747-2577 is the number. Let's go to Aaron, who is on the line in Okinawa. Wow. How fun is this? Aaron, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken. Thanks for taking my call.
You bet, Aaron. How can I help?
I am struggling to decide whether to get out of the military or not.
Okay. Tell me more.
I joined straight out of high school at 19, and a lot has happened since then. So I've been in a little over 6 years now. I have a little over 2 left currently. Like I said, when I joined, I was 19. I was single. My first base was in the States. I absolutely loved my job. The goal was always to do 20. So I love my job, so that still seemed like the goal for a while. We came overseas about a little over a year ago, and I'm married now with a kid, so goals have changed a little bit. I don't like my job as much here, so that definitely put a big swing at things. So now I'm kind of struggling to decide whether or not to get out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What are you leaning towards right now? If you didn't have me to talk to, and I'm going to weigh in on this, but I just want to know where you sit right now at the start of our conversation.
I'm leaning towards getting out. It's just the anxiety and the I guess not knowing what's next.
Yeah,
pretty much.
I get it. All right, let's go back for a second. You said that there was a point where you loved your job, and so at that point you were going, all right, I'm going to stay for 20 years. This is great. Then it feels like, based on what you told me, when you went overseas for this new assignment, that's when you go, oh, this assignment, it's this job, I don't really love this. I don't have any juice for this. And that combined with the fact that you're going, could I make more money in the private sector to take care of my family? It feels like that's the perfect storm that's creating doubt. Am I right?
Correct.
All right.
Absolutely.
So let me ask you this. If we just kind of reassigned you today, whether it's in Okinawa or wherever, and you were doing a job that you really love, that was in your sweet spot in the military, using what you do best to do what you love, to produce results that matter to you, would you be thinking about getting out as much? I mean, I think that's the $1 million question.
As much? No, definitely not. I would definitely consider staying in more. Part of it, like I said, is I have a family now, so there's that want to settle down and, be a homeowner and all that, be closer to family. But no, I would definitely consider staying in more if I was back in that sweet spot.
Yeah. So where do you honestly think you would be? Would you be 60-40 staying in? 70-30? What would it be?
If I was in the sweet spot, 50-50, maybe 60-40 getting out. I'm almost kind of set on it now. It's just really...
Okay. See, that's what I want to know. What are the I think there's more drivers now then. I think it is, do you want to be close to family and not be in the situation where you're having to move all around the world all the time, because that's part of the military experience and setting some roots? Feels like the roots and being near family feels like that's a real big driver right now.
Yeah, I think the job dissatisfaction here started it, and then from there it kind of got me, opened my mind to, could I make more money?
Yeah.
Could I be closer to family?
Well, the answer is yes.
Could my son see his grandparents more, all that.
Yeah. So the answer is you can do better and make more money. What do you think your sweet spot is? If you were to give me a quick purpose sentence, and it sounds like you've listened enough of the show to know where I'm going here, using what you do best to do work you love to produce results that matter. Give me a generic version or as specific as you can. What's your sweet spot?
Well, at my first base, I ranked up pretty quick just because I got really good at my job really fast, and I'm a jet engine mechanic, so I worked on the flight line there, so I led a crew of usually 5 to 10 people of maintenance tasks. And what I liked about it so much was that every day was different. We were rarely in the office, and every day was curveballs, and it was just fun to go to work.
Do you enjoy, if you were to rank leading a team towards problem-solving solutions, do you get more juice out of that or actually turning the wrench and fixing something?
I'd say initially it was turning the wrench, but now that I've been in a while, it's definitely the leading the team and training my own team to make us the best team possible.
So you've got experience in the military, transferable experience as a leader, as a manager of people, yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah. So could you effectively, if I made a phone call today to somebody who's got a great mechanic shop or a garage or whatever and said, hey, I've been told you need a shop manager, you need somebody to manage the crew who understands the mechanical side, but more importantly knows how to lead. I got a guy, tell you about my guy, Aaron. Guy led in the military. Stud. He's open to it. How would you feel about that opportunity?
If it was set in stone, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, of course it is. It's my analogy. Don't start throwing your doubt in my analogies, man. Come on.
Okay.
You see where I'm getting at this? I'm giving you one example, just one. I'm not saying you've got to go into the mechanic field. But the point is, why wouldn't you go into a field that you actually are trained on and actually have some proficiency in, and then you lead a team there? Seems to me to make a lot of sense. But here's what I want you to understand. If you've led a team in the military, you can lead a team in the private sector. Am I right or am I wrong?
True. Correct.
Because you know what it's like to give a command. And in the military, it's like you got to do it. So the challenge will be to go to the private sector where you help somebody realize, I'm giving you a command, and it's not like the military, but I still got to motivate you. I've got to serve you. I've got to lift you. I've got to come along beside you. That's what leadership is. And I got to help you get done what I need you to get done. What's your confidence level in being able to lead people in the private sector?
Okay.
No, I'm asking.
I think it's just that.
What's your confidence
level?
level?
The bravery of actually doing it.
Yeah.
I think it's just the anxiety of the unknown, where I'll actually end up.
100%. But let me take out. There's only so much you can know until you start applying. Until you start finding opportunities. You got 2 years. You got 2 years to make connections, and I'm guessing you guys know the zip code that you want to fall back into. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So 2 years to make connections. And you can do that even from Okinawa. But you're just letting people know, hey, we're moving back in 2 years. And I've got all this leadership experience, and I want to step into a leadership role. You start making connections maybe with some machinists, machine shops, or factories or whatever. You start finding opportunities that look attractive to you where you know as a military leader, you can come in and lead people day one. And remember this, step into the status of being a leader in the military. That still holds a lot of weight with a lot of people. It's not like you're coming out of the military going, I want to lead, and you've never led before. Not to mention the fact that you've led, but What about being a follower in the military makes you a great leader? Start to think through those things and begin to create a narrative. And as you create that narrative for yourself, your confidence level will grow, and that confidence will push you, and it also will come across in interviews. You tracking with what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you got this, man. You just got to identify all the different ways that you can lead in the private sector and where you'd want to lead, kind of work you want to be attached to. Go for it, man. You got this. There's no stopping you, Aaron. 844-747-2577 from Okinawa to Clarksville, Tennessee, not too far away from our Nashville headquarters. Jared is on the line. Jared, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Good morning, Ken. It's really good to talk to you. How are you today?
I am living the dream, Jared. What's going on?
I could just use some help. My wife, before our son was born, she and I moved to Nashville back in March of 2019, and then we bought a house in Clarksville about a year later. And I just feel kind of stuck. I really want to pursue my passion and dream of music, but I could just use some help getting there.
Okay.
And any pointers that you might offer me.
Be more specific. Paint the dream for me. Is it singer-songwriter, producer, touring musician? Give me the real dream. 15, 20 years from now, you're at the top of the heap for you. What's that look like?
Singer-songwriter, guitarist. Done a little bit of songwriting. Been part of a church's worship team for at least 10 plus years.
Okay, but do you want to be a Christian musician, country musician, pop, rock? Do you want to be a worship leader? Give me the full vision.
I really kind of want to be my own eclectic artist. I am a Christian, and so that's definitely going to come across in the music that I write and perform. But
who are your top three?
Types of music.
Tell me your top three artists that you're just a huge fan of. You love their work. When you think of them, when you consume their music, you go, they influence me. I'd like to be obviously my own unique version, but these are three artists that really represent who I would like to be. Give me those names.
Okay. If I'm going to go with my top three, I'm going to list Paramore, Lenny Kravitz, Lincoln Brewster.
Okay, great.
I mean, if I'm just going to go off my top three, I've got so many I could name. But
yeah, that's fine. And by the way, this is just,
I
I get it. And that's fine. You can change the list later. In fact, it'd be great for you to do a top 10 later when we get off the phone tonight before you go to bed. The reason I gave you that little exercise is you've got to begin to really get serious about the style. And I think you probably have a good idea. But all those influences mesh together in your head and heart, and they affect and influence the type of music you write. Am I right or wrong?
I believe you're right.
Yeah, I know I am. I've talked to artists about this. Like, the great songwriters are all influenced by somebody else. It's like a big giant steal. In fact, there's a great book you should read called Steal Like an Artist, a little teeny tiny book. I think it's on my shelf up there. Yeah, it is. It's on the shelf behind me. And it's the idea of the great artists are all influenced by other people. So one of the things you've got to do is get a super high level of confidence of the type of artist, singer, songwriter. When you think that indie artist, the way you said it, you've got to really embrace that. And the quicker you do that and the more aggressively you embrace that, the more momentum you're going to have to really get out of the gate. Because when you say you're stuck, I think it's just you saying, I don't know where to start. Am I right?
I think so. And of course, with my son being little and trying to balance that with the current work.
Right, but here's the deal. You and I have a similar path. The path that I took is going to be somewhat similar for you in that you got a wife and a child. You got to have to hold down a day job, and it's like two full-time jobs. You may not spend the exact same amount of hours, but I mean, you're writing music, you're gigging where you can. As soon as COVID opens up, I mean, you're literally doing anything and everything you can to sing and perform as much as possible to get your work out on YouTube, Instagram, wherever else you would go. You have got to show your work. You've got to get it out there. And you can't be all hung up on how many people saw it and how many people listened to it. That will take care of itself. But you got to know who you are and what kind of artist you want to be. What kind of music do you want to create for the world? Why do you want to create that? What's the message? You got to know all that. and get artistically inspired and then put it out there and stop being worried about how many people see it and go, the more I put it out there, here's what I know. There are a lot of people in this world who like the same kind of music I do. If I make really good music that I like, then other people will eventually find me. And that's the key. So putting out music that you like, that you would listen to is huge. And then, again, as I said, putting it out there and being patient while continuing to perform, continuing to write, continuing to produce. Just keep putting your stuff out there. And to the best of your ability, then you move into, okay, how can I start to make some money, make a little bit more money? And then you get to the point where you stay with it long enough, if you're good enough. And I have no way of assessing your talent right now. So hopefully you've got some really honest people in your life that are in the music business who can say to you, yeah, it may be hard, this may be a long journey, but you do have talent. And I'm assuming you've done that you're not delusional. So assuming all that you really got what it takes, raw talent, then you have to stay with it, man, and stay with it big time. It's not going to happen overnight. So the day job and the dream job are going to have to coincide. Make sense?
Yes, and you don't think my being 38 has any impact on it?
No. You know the story of Chris Stapleton?
I don't.
You got to be kidding me. Madison, give me real quick. Help me out. Can you look it up? How old was Stapleton? I mean, he broke. Do you know who he is?
I do. He did a song with Justin Timberlake.
Yeah.
Say something.
But I want to know, Madison, how old Stapleton is now, and how old was he when he popped a couple years ago? I guess it's been 2 or 3 years. Madison's looking it up. But, Jared, here's what I want you to understand. This guy had been a studio musician, writing stuff with his wife. He kind of just been hanging around. And then, boom, the right relationship happens for him. And he gets exposed, and man, this guy's one of the hottest artists in the world. Do you understand?
Sure.
So I don't think 38's too young. Does 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, does that have any impact on your ability to actually create good music?
And you don't think it's too old?
No, but you didn't answer my question.
Chris
I don't
Stapleton
think it should impact.
Of course it won't. Go ahead, Madison.
Chris Stapleton is 42 years old, and his quote-unquote breakthrough, which is when people learned who he was when he performed at the CMA Awards with Justin Timberlake in 2015.
Okay, so he's 42 now, so that's 37.
Mm-hmm.
Jared, you hear what I'm saying?
I hear it.
So you answered my question honestly. Being 42 or 52 does not have any impact on your ability to write music. Are you a little bit behind the 8 ball? Yeah. In the sense of you've not been going after it really hard for a long time. But the fact of the matter is that you've got to go for it, something you want to do. And you'll always have the day job. So take care of your family, get the day job there, and then go after it like your life depends on it. I did. I was 33 when I started into broadcasting. And I mean, it took me 7 years to get to Ramsey Solutions, another 3.5 to earn the opportunity to do the show that I'm doing now. So, no, it's not too old. And you know deep down in your soul it's not. But you got to go all in. There's no turning back. You know, get in the boat today and go. And when you get there to the full commitment, burn the boats. So there's no retreat. You understand what I'm saying, Jared?
I do. And you said the book is Feel Like an Artist?
Yes. It's a great little book. Get it and employ the little strategies in it. It's great. And you've got to start playing and putting music out. And if you can't gig right now, put it out on YouTube and keep putting it out there. Just keep doing it. Keep showing up. And then after that, Joe, keep showing up. And then after that, keep showing up.
It's always good.
I mean, Joe, let's remind people, I started out on Saturday radio. I had to pay $250 freaking bucks so they could pay Joe. He's turning the knobs. He's going, who's this guy? And I'm on AM Talk Radio. It's Saturdays at 2 o'clock. Joe, tell folks how many people are listening that on your standard AM Talk station on Saturdays at 2 p.m.
Well, now, me and you differ in this because...
Oh, would you just stop and tell people it ain't a lot of people?
I'd say probably 2,000 people.
Okay, great. That's not a lot of people. Some of you think of 2,000 people. I'm telling you, it's not a lot of people. And it's just because they're on that station and they get in the car. It's because they're listening to WDUN as their primary source of news Monday through Friday. So they get in the car on Saturday to go to Lowe's or Home Depot to get something, and it's already in the car, and they're hearing me, and they're going, huh? What is this? Who's this clown? The point I'm trying to make is that you got to show up and embrace the suck and keep showing up, putting shows together, and realize that you're not making a huge impact. Not a ton of people are listening, and not a lot of people are buying your music, but it doesn't matter because it is the process that will prepare you for that promise. 844-747-2577. Coming up next after this quick break, take your chat questions, and I'm going to teach on the law of the zip code, which will set you free if you're looking to start something this year.
We were drawn to Christian Healthcare Ministries because we both had young families and we wanted to have more children. And we had also just started a real estate company and needed to find healthcare coverage that would meet our needs.
We were attracted to CHM because of its low monthly costs and the ability to negotiate medical costs down.
Established in 1981 and accredited by the Better Business Bureau, CHM is here to meet the needs of your growing family or small business. Check us out at chministries.org.
We absolutely believe in it.
The Ken Coleman Show continues from our Ramsey Solutions studios in the Nashville area. You're welcome to come by and see us and sit out in front of the studio glass, watch the show. I'll come out and shake your hand, say hi to you. Love to have you. We are live on YouTube right now. If you're watching at around 12:27 Eastern Standard Time. We also have the show on demand if you're watching later from around the globe. So thank you for watching. As you're watching, give us a thumbs up right below the window. Subscribe if you haven't already, and share it. We're growing, and not a lot of people are coming to YouTube thinking, man, there's a show that'll help me figure out what my purpose is and help me grow in my personal and professional development. Are you kidding me? I can call in and talk to you? Yes, you got a 2-hour window between 12 and 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every day, Monday through Friday. We'd love to hear from you. 844-747-2577. Let's go to the chat room. You could also submit your questions via the chat that's right there next to the video window. Nadi writes in, how do I find the balance between productivity and rest, especially with demanding employers? Well, I don't know the details, Nadi, in your situation of what that means with demanding employers, but the balance between productivity and rest is whatever the demands are and when you're there, and hopefully you're talking to them about this, but you got to be productive. You got to deliver results. And the rest needs to be, number one, mental and emotional and physical rest. And if you're in a demanding season and demanding time, you're going to have to carve time out. And people say, well, can I have time? Yes, you do. Even if you're working 50 hours a week, there's still more time in that week. And so when you are not there, you're going to have to be very disciplined, the intentionality to make time for rest. And again, rest isn't just sleep. It's that mental, let your brain kind of get dull and mundane, whatever that be, a craft, a hobby, yard work, just kind of let it go into rest. And then the emotional side of things as well, not just your brain, but your heart, your emotions. Make sure you're in tune there. So that's how you do that. JB writes in, how do you define meaningful work? First time I've been asked that question. I love this, JB. Thank you. Meaningful work to me is, it means the work and the results of my work make my heart full because I love the work and it is producing results that matter deeply to me. I am seeing impact. that I deeply love. I care about this impact. That to me is meaningful work. That simple. Matt M. writes in, what are some questions I can ask myself that will help me better define the problems I want to solve and the people I want to help? He's referring to the questions I ask people when we help them define their mission, results that matter most. You want to think about the people you most want to help, the problems you want to solve, and you tie the problems. So you're thinking about the people, you know there's a problem or a need, could be a desire. So it could be women want nice shoes, I want to design shoes. All right, so that's not a problem per se. It is a desire that you are helping them fulfill. Okay? So when you look through this, you're asking the questions, who are the people I most want to help? Who are the people that I've always had a heart for? People I've always had compassion and empathy for. That's the only thing you can ask. I don't know how else to give you delineated questions behind who are the people you want to help. You think of them. When you watch these stories about these people on the news, or you read articles about these people and you go, I just would love to help them. That's all you're doing. And then when you think of those people, you're going, oh, by thinking of them, I've also already had a snapshot of the problem, the challenge, the desire that they have. And so, you're just going, all right, those people, why do I long to help them? Well, because they're growing up in abject poverty. They're in single parent homes. They're in high crime neighborhoods. They got poor schools. You start thinking about all the reasons why you want to help them. You go, oh, those are the problems I want to help solve. Then you go, okay, there are multiple ways to provide solutions to those problems you've identified. What are the solutions to those problems that you most get excited about? So one could be I could fundraise for a nonprofit that helps these kids, or I could go in and teach myself. So as you begin to walk through those questions, that's when the head and heart align and essentially fill in the blanks. So I hope that helps. 844-747-2577 is the number, 844-747-2577. Hey, I talked about this yesterday. We are doing a free 7-day career checkup challenge. So think of this as like your annual doctor's physical. We want to look at your career, where you are. I want to help you identify the gaps. And we're calling it the Career Checkup Challenge. It's a free 7-day engagement on my Facebook page called the official Ken Coleman Community. It's not my official page, but it's the Ken Coleman Community page where men and women are hanging out, like-minded, encouraging each other. So you've got to search the official Ken Coleman Community on Facebook and join it. And Wednesday, January 13th, get there. And we will begin to walk you through a 7-day career checkup challenge. Again, join the Ken Coleman Community on Facebook today. Get back there on the 13th. For that matter, you should be hanging out there anytime you're on social media or Facebook. You need to jump over there. You don't want to talk about being encouraged. Now, these men and women are sharing. They're encouraging. They're giving advice and guiding. It's really, really fun. I'm so proud of those folks over there. So go check it out. Search the Ken Coleman Community on Facebook and take part in our free 7-day career checkup challenge that kicks off Wednesday, January 13th. 844-747-2577. Okay, I want to teach on the law of the zip code. I want to revisit because our audience is growing, our audience is changing. And so for some of you, you've heard me talk about this before. It's still good for you to hear. It's a classic. I write about the law of the zip code in my #1 best-selling book, The Proximity Principle, the proven strategy that will lead to the career you love. And it's baked into the first chapter in the second section of the book, Places. And the first place that I write about, the first of 5 places I write about in the Proximity Principle, is the place where you are. It's the place that most people overlook. They get this idea for a dream, they get excited about it, and they go, oh, I got to move somewhere to go somewhere in my career. That's not true. Now, sometimes you will have to move somewhere. But to get started, no matter what the career is, those first initial steps, whatever that looks like for you, there will always be a season where you need to start, even if it's just mentally and emotionally committing where you are. And so this idea of the law of the zip code, which says everything you need to get started is already around you. It came from the show. And I'll never forget, we were early in the show. Guy calls me from Charlotte, North Carolina, Joe. And he says, Ken, I know exactly what I want to do, but I don't think I can get there. I'm absolutely stuck, and I need your help. I said, great. What do you want to do? He said, well, I used to be in movie production, television production, and this is when I was single, and then moved to Charlotte, North Carolina, and got a good day job, and got a wife and 3 kids, and taking care of them. But my heart's telling me to get back into TV production, but the problem is it can be, really spotty. I don't want to move to LA or New York. That's not an option. I just don't know what to do. And I said to him in the moment, how many video production companies do you think, or do you know, are in Charlotte, North Carolina, surrounding areas? And he started laughing. He goes, oh, I see what you did there. He goes, probably 25, 30, something like that. I said, yeah. And I said, they're doing everything from political commercials to local commercials to videos for companies. Video production is huge. It's not going anywhere. And video is the future. And so I said to him, you need to use the proximity principle, which says in order to do what you want to do, you got to be around people that are doing it. Those are people in video production, sound, lights, the whole 9 yards. And in places where it's happening. So go volunteer. Say, hey, I got all this video production. I'm looking to get back in, and I know you may not have anything right now, but if I could ever help out on a project or something, I'll be a grip, or I'll hold lighting or whatever. And I said, that's what you need to do. And 3 weeks later, we got a call from him. Joe told me, he didn't call back the show, but he emailed in, I think it was, and said, hey, I did exactly what you told me to do, and I've made some great contacts, and I've already been hired. Now, that happened really fast, but that's how the proximity principle works, which says in order to do what you want to do, you got to be around people that are doing what you want to do and in places where it's happening. People plus places, the right people plus the right places equals opportunity. And so the law of the zip code came out of that phone call. I started thinking about it. I was like, this guy thinks he's got to move to LA or New York to do the work he wants to do, and he does it. Now, he could, if he wants to get back in it, and he builds a really great reputation. I don't know where that guy is or what he's doing now, but he could have parlayed that Charlotte gig into an LA gig, and so at that point he does move. But for him to get started and getting back in it, everything he needed to get started was already around him. And so that's the law of the zip code. Because what happens is it, by nature, when we have this vision for our future, this desired future, this dream job, this meaningful work, well, naturally our eyes are up and we're looking out. I like to use the mountain analogy because it's the easiest one. You're standing at the base of a mountain range or a mountain, you're looking up, and you're kind of viewing this majestic sight in your mind. That's what's happening. And so by nature, our eyes are up and out. And so we're not looking around us. And so then we go, oh gosh, to get up here, I'm going to have to get closer and move over there. And it's go, whoa, 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 whoa. If I decide to climb a mountain today, I can look at pictures of the mountain. I can go see the mountain. But at some point, I'm going to have to go back to my garage in my house and get the clothes, the equipment, and everything I need. And so this idea of getting started many times is just as, like stage 2, getting qualified. Well, I can get qualified in my own zip code, and that is a part of the journey. So don't assume you've got to move somewhere to go somewhere. Everything you need to get started is already around you, and you can take those first important, sometimes very small, but very methodical and necessary steps right where you are. That's the law of the zip code. So allow that law to sink in and go, okay, what can I do to get started right where I am? And start today. Now. Don't delay. As I taught on yesterday's show, stop deliberating and start doing. Well, speaking of start doing, I got to start landing the plane. But before I go, I want you to know that you matter and you do have what it takes. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, this is the Ken Coleman Show. Press on.